Hello and welcome. I am CJ Radune here of RotoWire.com for your Formula One update on the Prime Sports Network. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our motorsports videos all season long, including NASCAR, IndyCar, and of course, Formula One. And you can access my columns by clicking the link provided in the description area of this video. And if you have any questions or comments, feel free to let me know what is on your mind. So, what do we have coming up here? It's the Formula One Heineken Dutch Grand Prix. But as you all know, we have to look back at what has been happening. And quite frankly, nothing has been happening because Formula One has been on their 3-week summer break. But last time we talked, we were actually preparing for the Belgian Grand Prix. So Belgium, again, it was all about Max Verstappen. He had a grid penalty that dropped him from pole position, but that didn't stunt his progress. He took the lead from teammate Sergio Perez about 15 laps in, and from there, he only failed to lead another 2 laps, and those were only as the pit stop cycled through the field. So even though he was faced with adversity in that Belgian Grand Prix, it was still all about Red Bull and Max Verstappen. However, it does seem like Sergio Perez is starting to find his footing. So he was the lead driver as Max was pushed back. He wasn't able to keep Max behind him, but still Perez went on to finish a very strong second for Red Bull, which quite frankly, that is the spot he should have been in all season and where he should be for the rest of this season. In Belgium, he was the only other driver besides Verstappen to lead, and that performance could be a sign that he's moved beyond those struggles and that he's ready to consolidate that second spot in the championship. I think that's expected of him. We all know that he's been in a slump. He's the only other driver to have won a race so far this season. Max Verstappen, without a doubt, has the handle on him. But Perez, hopefully, what he found in Belgium carries through this Dutch Grand Prix and through this second half of the season. He's able to really make a charge to consolidate that second spot in the championship. So what was the biggest surprise at Belgium? To me, the biggest surprise was Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Ferrari has been behind all season, but they came forward and Leclerc was able to get a podium finish in Belgium, which was great for them. Ferrari's been working really hard to overcome their current problems with their car development, and maybe they've started to see some progress as a result of that. This week's race, the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort, should be a very good barometer for where they are with 2023 development. However, interestingly enough, ahead of this race, they did say that basically the 2023 problems are so inherent in the car that they're having a complete rethink as they develop the 2024 car. As we move into the second half of the season, after this 3-week break, though, we're going to start seeing teams make a decision as to whether they keep developing the 2023 cars or if they shift all their focus to 2024. So sorry to say, anybody who's expecting to see Max Verstappen get some real challenges as this season goes on, you may actually start getting less. So that was Belgium. We had a 3-week break, and we're coming up here to the Dutch Grand Prix this weekend. So let's take a look at those odds. And quite frankly, if anybody was expecting to see anything different than Max Verstappen and Red Bull being top of the heap and by far the favorites, you're probably living on another planet at this point. But Max Verstappen, clearly the favorite. Sergio Perez is moving forward in the standings, though, which is great news for him. So how about the Dutch Grand Prix? Dutch Grand Prix has been around for a very long time, and this track, Zandvoort, has actually been around a very long time. However, this will only be the 3rd time that the series has raced there since it returned in 2021. So it's a relatively new track, despite the fact that it's been around for Formula One's history. It's new to all these drivers, or newish at this point to all these drivers. It is, of course, the home track for Verstappen, and he has won both prior races there. So anyone not expecting him to go for the Grand Slam of pole position, fastest lap, and race win, you might be dreaming. I think Max Verstappen is setting himself up to have a dominant weekend this week, and then certainly at his home track, that's a place where he wants to do it. Zandvoort is a very unique one. It's very tight and windy. It has elevation changes and bank turns, which are very rare, the bank turns at least, for a Formula One track. And that whole combination makes passing a real challenge. So this race is likely to come down to qualifying and strategy. So Saturday is going to be very, very important. But that also sets up the prospect of everything falling right into Verstappen's hands. Nobody has been better than Verstappen at qualifying or during the race this year so far, and I wouldn't expect much different here at his home Grand Prix. So I think we are setting ourselves up for another Red Bull Verstappen type of weekend. I think the real questions really are for Sergio Perez and perhaps maybe Lewis Hamilton and Ferrari. So has Sergio Perez really turned things around? And is he really going to stake a claim to that run at second? And can Lewis Hamilton and Mercedes, as at this tight and windy track, can they use their strategy to outfox Red Bull and Max Verstappen? Lewis Hamilton, the first two races here since the return to Zandvoort, he's been mainly the one that's been able to challenge Verstappen at this. So perhaps it could be an upset weekend for Hamilton. And then the question remains around Charles Leclerc and Ferrari. Was that step forward at Belgium a real one? Are they able to carry it on here into the Dutch Grand Prix? We will see this weekend. However, I do always like to give the long shot picks, and between Hamilton and Leclerc this week, Ferrari, I'm probably going to lean toward a Lewis Hamilton, and the reason why is exactly as I said. He's the only other driver that's really been able to take the fight to Max Verstappen at this track these last two races, and it's a tight and twisty track, and Mercedes can use that to their advantage in strategy. Obviously, the main pick is going to be Max Verstappen, though. And if you want to get a little bit better odds, maybe go for him individually versus Red Bull as a team. But with Red Bull as a team, clearly you're getting Sergio Perez in there as well. One way to actually improve your odds for what could very well be the outcome this weekend would be to do a parlay and have Max Verstappen go for the pole, fastest lap, as well as win. Combining those three could significantly improve your odds and actually make Max Verstappen's payout a little bit more attractive versus his odds sitting there at a negative 450. So obviously, in recap, the pick of the week, Verstappen and Red Bull, but the long shot choices outside of that have got to be either Hamilton and Leclerc. And quite honestly, I'm giving it to Hamilton because he is the challenger for Verstappen in both prior races. And if anything unexpected happens to Red Bull, it could be him that's there to pick up the pieces. Keep a lookout for Sergio Perez, see if he's able to really make that charge for second place. And let's keep a close eye as to when Ferrari's going to stop developing their 2023 challenger. So with that, that's your preview for the Dutch Grand Prix. Max Verstappen at home, maybe the best bet is to combine those odds for pole, fastest lap, and race win. So again, I am CJ Radune of RotoWire.com here for the Prime Sports Network. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss any of the motorsports videos all season long. We've got the NASCAR playoffs coming up here. And we also have coverage of IndyCar as well as, while you're here right now, Formula One. You can access my columns by clicking the link below. And if you have any questions or comments, let me know what's on your mind. And until next time, keep it out of the fence.